Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we are going to be continuing on with our SwiftUI tutorial series. And in this particular tutorial, we are going to be taking a look at the link view in SwiftUI. Now, this view allows us to link to some kind of resource. In this particular example, though, we are going to take a look at how we can reference a website, right? A website in using the link element. Now, if we go ahead and let's go into Safari. Okay, and what I want to link to is documentation, link, SwiftUI. All right. What we're going to do is we are going to have a link view that links to, right, that when you click on it, it'll bring you to the documentation for link. Okay. So if we go ahead and let's take a look real quick at the contents of this. Now, of course, this will take in a URL, and this URL is the the destination of our link, and then we need to give it a label, as it states here, which will be the text of our link. So let's go ahead and go into Xcode after we copy the URL here. Go into the toolbar. Let's go ahead and copy this link here. Go into Xcode, and let's get started using the link view. So to use our link view built into SwiftUI, we need the capital L-I-N-K, and then we will do an open parenthesis, and we have a few different initializers. We can create a link that uses a URL and has a label. So, like, for example, we could use a label view as the label for the link. We could use text, stuff like that. So we're going to use that one. Here, let's create a URL with a string of our URL. And we'll unwrap that. We'll force unwrap it because we know it's a valid address. If you were doing this dynamically and you didn't know if it was a valid URL, you might want to handle it differently. But because we know that this is a valid URL, a valid address, we can force unwrap it and it won't cause any problems. All right. Now, here the last parameter in this initializer is a closure. So what we can do is we can just get rid of that parameter entirely, and outside of the view's parentheses for its initializer, we can open up that closure. Here we're using a trailing closure. If you're not familiar with a trailing closure, go read up on trailing closures as well as just closures generally, because again, you're going to be using them a lot in SwiftUI. I'm not going to go over what they are because, well, you should already know what they are by now. So let's go ahead and have some text. And this will be read the documentation for the link view in SwiftUI. We'll go ahead and save this. And we'll first take a look at what this looks like on macOS. So let's double check. Go into our toolbar, into our activity view, our path. Okay, yep. The active run destination is our Mac. So run the code here. And so here's our app. And we have our link here and all that stuff. Let's go ahead and let's click this link. By default, it will open up Safari, and it'll open up the link that we have in Safari. That's the default thing it'll do. That's the default behavior. All right. Now, let's go ahead and we will go in here and let's go into the simulator and see what it looks like in there. Let's launch our simulator, let it do its thing. It's loading up here. Okay, here we are in our simulator. And you can see here that in iOS, a link is rendered just like a normal iOS button. And in fact, if you focus on it with VoiceOver, the accessibility role, the role for this for a link in iOS, is a button, whereas on macOS it's a link. Okay, so if we go ahead and we tap on our link here, what will happen? Well, as we can see, it again opened up Safari in our simulator to our documentation page that we linked to. So that pretty much does it for links in SwiftUI. There are some things that you can do with the link to customize how they are, how the links are opened, and we'll take a look at that in the next video. But this is the bare bones basics of how we can use a link to link the user to a different resource. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.